flies. It's called the ram caddis. I'm going to be talking a little bit about this trip I took last summer. It was the week of just before the eclipse, and I decided to go up to Idaho and Montana and go fishing for a whole week by myself. So first thing I did was drive up to River Bend Campground on the Henry's Fork, and set up camp on Sunday night. On the first day, which we'll talk about a little later, I did a guided trip with Three Rivers on the Henry's Fork, and that's where I first learned about the sparkle minnow, smoke sparkle minnow. But then a couple days later, I did a trip with Bob Sorensen. I don't know if you guys all, or Swenson. I don't know if you guys know him.
We had him come type for last year. Actually.
You did?
Yeah.
Swenson?
Yeah, last year or year before.
He's a really good guy. Anyway, last year he was guiding for Drift, which is a fly shop right there next to the Henry's Lake entrance.
Down the street from John's house.
Down the street from John's house. He also worked on the golf course. I'm not a golfer, but anyway. I know. That's what he told me. So anyway, long story short, he took me fishing one day. And we started out up on the Gallatin in the park. And I don't know about you guys, but I've never really been very successful in Yellowstone National Park. So we get up real early and go through the gate before the crowds get there. And we go up on the Gallatin, and we're in the park. And I probably shouldn't say where this is. Anyway, so I've tied on some spandex, green flexi-floss, and now I'm going to put a wire rib on this. So the research I did on this ram fly back in the 70s and 80s, it was a very popular fly in Yellowstone, and they fished it quite a bit. And then it kind of fell out of favor. And this is the version that was first introduced. And again, it's a real simple fly. If you guys don't have any of these, you should get some for your wire. Saves a lot of hassle and saves your scissors. And I think Michael's has them, Joanne's has them. You can probably find them anywhere. But they cut wire really well. They're pretty handy. So I'm tying in a small copper brown piece of wire to rib this fly with. And we're just going to wrap.
Did you take a hike down into a canyon where you were fishing the yellow?
No, we were in the park.
No, I said in the park. There's a neat spot.
Well,
no road flag. You have to hike.
I could tell you where it is, but I've fished there before, and if you promise not to say anything, it's the third turnout coming in from Yellowstone. And it's pretty brushy, so we had to have bear spray and all of that. And we were up there real early, and it was still, really cold. But we fished this run, and it was probably about a football field maybe long. It was a long run. And we fished it 3 times. 3 times. And I probably caught 30 fish. It was crazy. And we were nymphing. And the funny part about it was I went to Blue Ribbon the day before, and I bought some flies from them that they said would work. And we never even came close to using any of them. Totally different. But the number 1 fly was not this one, but the next one I'll tie. But this is the old version of it. I'm sure it works very well. So this is a hand hackle, and I really like these because they're really strong, and you could use partridge, CDC, a lot of other things for this. But these hand hackles I really like. I don't know if you guys have used them before, but they're pretty strong and they make a nice soft hackle. And I've got a bunch of them. This only takes a couple of wraps. Maybe 3. Show you something else. You see that? It's one of those stitch removal tools.
Seam ripper.
Seam ripper, yeah. On the other end of a whip finisher. So I'm going to push these back a little bit. Make sure they're like that. Then we're going to put a little bit of black dubbing on that. Well, I'll do my other trick. This is supposed to have a black head on it. So then you get out your Sharpie and you paint it. I do.
Spends the summer in West, fishes the park all the time.
I know. Is he still around?
I didn't see him last year, but he's.
I didn't either. He used to work for one of Eric's fly shop, yeah.
He quit working for Eric. His wife was working at the bakery there, and she lost her job. They closed it, I think. So they quit living up there.
So Bob, I'm not sure where he came up with this. What I do know that, are we rolling?
Yep, you're rolling.
He actually got all this Zelon, that's what this stuff is. And I can give you some to tie this. He had Blue Ribbon dye it for him. So I know Bob would go home after guiding up there last year and tie dozens and dozens of these. because they're so easy to tie.
So is this fished as a subsurface?
This is dipped,
Yeah.
but this one floats above the bottom. So the way he set it up is he had the split shot in between two bugs, so it was pulling down both bugs. And the way I have fished it on the Weber and the Provo is, well, it's sort of like check nymphing, but I use a heavily weighted fly, and that's when we get to the golden stone, that's what that's going to be. And then that drops it right down. So there's the body. And it seems kind of weird that this works, but it's just amazing. Originally, the other bug, they fished it for the Mother's Day caddis hatch, and but I think because caddis are in the water all the time, you can probably fish it all summer long. So this is, again, Zelon. I think you could use CDC, Zelon, a number of things for this. Wing. Now I'm borrowing stuff from Dave. So you don't need very much dubbing. And I usually use the super fine. Like that's too much. And I don't know if you guys know this trick or not, but if you hang on to your dubbing, I learned this from John Romer last year. But if you hang on to the dubbing after you get it on, and it doesn't have to be dubbed very well, it'll tighten up on the thread as you wind it all by itself. And there you go. Ram Caddis.